All right, guys, so here we are again. We're going to actually open up the forest area for them to summer in. So they will have access to all of this out here that you guys have seen us building fences and doing all the various pieces of work that took to get to this point. Um, so they are right now on the other side of those gates. So what I'm going to do is open that up. But before we get there, we'll discuss why. So if you guys can see, I'm going to try and get down here a little bit, so the camera's going to go sideways a little bit on you. You guys can kind of see how tall this grass is. You guys see that? All right. This is the other pasture that they've been in. So I'm going to do the same thing without zapping me on this fence. You guys can see there really isn't much left there, right? So they have pretty much, for the most part, eaten all of that down. Now there's still some stuff out there, but there's not a lot. Remember, the goats, they are not grazers. They're not like cows. They don't like to just eat grass. They like weeds, they like leaves, things like that. So the fact that the other pasture doesn't have a lot of that stuff means that they're not getting every bit of nutrition we would like. And as a demonstration of that, so we've had them locked out of the other pasture to let that kind of recover. We let them mow down the main pasture that they always have access into for the last week or so. It's not very long. But just in that short period of time, Heather has seen a dramatic decrease in the amount of milk that she is getting. Why is that? So, cows, goats, any animal out there that's producing milk, they are going to produce as much milk as their body will allow them to do. What does that mean? So if they're not getting 100% of their nutrients, say they're getting 80%, their body's going to create 80% of that milk. They're not going to actually get themselves to a point. They can, but if you're giving them a majority of nutrients that they need, this won't happen. There's some circumstances where it can. You severely malnutrition them, but they have babies. Their body will continue to produce milk, but it's going to be basically the bare minimum, and they will end up shrinking. The mama goats will end up definitely losing weight and all that. But for the most part, if, say, our pasture is 90% efficient, right, and not 100%, they're going to decrease that milk production by 10%. So which means Heather is getting 10% less milk, which means less cheese. So she has already started seeing that. So we decided this morning, hey, we need to get them out in this forest area, get that milk production back up before it permanently decreases. If they are not producing as much milk over a longer period of time, then their body will just not produce that much. Short periods, they should bounce back. That's our hope. So that is our motivation behind, hey, let's get this area opened up today, get them out here. Even though we do have a little tiny bit of more work to do, that's okay, because they're not explorers. They're not going to go down into the deep woods right off the bat. So we've got some areas down there. It's safe, all that. We just got to fine tune some things, get things just kind of back up into shape a little bit. We've got a little bit of areas that, because we've had the fencing up for a little bit, bunnies and that have pushed through. We found some gaps where we're going to have to go through and restake the fencing down, things like that. It's just minor stuff. Perfectly safe for the goats and everybody to come out here. We would never ever do anything to jeopardize the safety of our animals, because that's just foolish when they're the ones that are providing our income. Why would you jeopardize that, right? So, without further ado, here we go. We're going to go ahead and get this opened up. Now, odds are they are not just going to rush down here. I'm probably going to have to push them to down here and convince them that it is okay. Now, watch them make liars out of me. And they're going to be like, no, we're going to go right away. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. This being a brand new area that they have never ever been in. I expect that they're going to be very cautious. Again, goats being prey animals, they tend to be cautious creatures who don't want to really go exploring new areas out of fear that they might find something they don't want, such as um, coyotes, foxes, any of those critters that will harm them. So now, this area is wide open to them. Oh, look at that. Of course, Maverick. Fat Mav. Is peeking around. You going to be the brave one to cross the line first, buddy? Yep, you are. Maverick's going, hey, I'm hungry. Because you're always hungry, bud. All you want to do is eat. He's like, huh, there's food. Now look at the Nubians. Look at this. Look at this. This is going better than I expected. They're already coming down. Look at that. I full on expected me to have to go up there and push them out. Look at them making liars out of me. Once one goes, they all go. Maverick and Whopper, you guys are trailblazers. Look at that. What do y'all think of this, huh? Oh, here comes oatmeal. Oatmeal never misses a meal. Well, these goats just made a complete liar out of me. Usually they are so cautious. Now, my theory is going to be that because they can see their pasture, they are just okay with this. I am going to guess that they are going to stay right along their pasture fence line without going much further. But right now they're kind of making a liar out of me at the moment. So we'll see what they really do here. Look at that, guys. You guys got lots to eat now. You got about, I don't know, roughly 3 acres. All forest land, trees, grass, weeds, everything else in here. One concern that I do have that we're going to have to address is Miss Oatmeal over there. She is starting to founder, which means we're going to have to put a grazing muzzle on her. Probably today or tomorrow, so that she doesn't continue to gain weight. And donkeys that get too fat end up as dead donkeys. So definitely not something we want to do. We've also played with the idea of putting the mamas, Oatmeal and Penny, over with the boys where they don't have access to this rich environment. Problem is, we've raised them with this herd, so this is what they're used to. Don and Rocco have been raised with the other boys who are much rougher. So kind of one of those not ideal situations, but also nervous about putting a grazing muzzle on Oatmeal with all the woods and everything, that she ends up snagging on one of those, which again, not good. So we gotta figure it out. We gotta play with it a little bit. Not sure 100% what we're gonna do yet. Probably try the grazing muzzle and just keep a real close eye on her initially, and then we'll go from there. It's a long process to get that weight off of her, and it's a very long process to get it addressed and get it all taken care of. Always open to suggestions. Any of you guys have suggestions for situations like that? We don't have a dry lot where we can put her into. Um, we don't really want to separate her and Penny because they are definitely bonded, and Penny is already skittish, so it's not something we really want to do with separating the two of them. But we need to also make sure that we get the weight off of Oatmeal, which, even if we grazing muzzle her now, it's probably going to be for the entire season while everything is growing. So not having her in a new pasture to protect these guys isn't ideal either. Livestock guardian dog was something that we considered, but they take about 3 years to raise before they are ready. They've got to be raised with the herd for the most part, uh, to learn the herd and the herd learn them. You don't want to panic your animals, so that's not really an option either. Anyway, that is the fun decision-making paradigm that we have to constantly go through. Now, I don't know if this camera's picking it up or not. I'm going to try and zoom in. These babies over here on the other side of the fence, now, of course, they're going to stop, are having a blast. Of course, they stopped. So, anyway, I'm going to sign off here. Let these guys do their thing. Let them graze and enjoy their day. So, again, this went so much better than I expected. From White Tree Farm, Statesville, North Carolina. We're out of here.